Thank you to our sponsor, MBA Growth Partners.
Hello and welcome to Studio 501c3. I'm your host, Kim Jones, CEO of the Nonprofit Village. Our show features nonprofit organizations designated as 501c3 by the IRS because they provide a public benefit, and in most cases, your donations are tax deductible. We partner with Montgomery Community Media on Studio 501c3, and it's a proud collaboration that features the county's excellent nonprofit programs and services. Today, we're featuring the nonprofit, the National Alliance on Mental Illness of Montgomery County. The short name would be NAMI, N-A-M-I, which connects communities to provide support, education, and advocacy for people who are affected by mental illness. And today I'm talking with Executive Director Stephanie Rosen. Stephanie, thanks so much for being here.
Of course. Thank you for having us.
Great. So I really want you to, this is such an important subject, as people go through crises, economic crises, health crises. We've got, over the past couple of years, we're dealing with social justice reckoning. Mm-hmm. But give us a quick review of the NAMI Montgomery County resources. There's so much online, phone, in person, for someone who's living through the mental illness or the loss that we are all feeling from so many different things going on in the world.
Yeah, so NAMI is a true grassroots organization. We've got a national organization, a state organization, and 600 local affiliates across the country. We're one of those 600 affiliates. We provide all peer-led support, education, and advocacy. And what we mean by peer-led is our classes and support groups and presentations are all taught by individuals living with mental illness or who have been a caregiver, family member, or friend of someone living with mental illness. And so it's this piece between going it alone and only seeing professional providers, which we think are absolutely 100% necessary in the treatment of mental health conditions. Mm-hmm. But we also think that there's this really valuable lived experience piece that people can find a new community. Mm-hmm. Has acceptance, that provides education, that provides support. And so we do that in the forms of classes, we do that in the forms of support groups. And then we have individuals share their story of living with mental illness or being a caregiver of someone. And everybody shares their story in the first person. And that's a much more powerful way to talk about mental health than it is for me to give you stats.
Right. And that's a very unique approach. Is that lived experience that people bring when they are working with the community? Is that a requirement that you have? What kind of, and I guess what kind of screening do you have to go through, especially for the volunteers that are helping to serve NAMI?
Yeah. So I actually started out as a program participant and then as a volunteer. So I'm aware of the process from both sides. And this is why I'm so passionate about our programs, is because I benefited from them. So our programs are designed at the national level, studied, researched at the national level. And then us at the local level, what we do is we recruit, we screen, we train, we retain our volunteers. We have a core of about 150 volunteers, which we're always looking to expand. Our average volunteer length of time is 5 years. So volunteers, you do not have to commit to 5 years. It's just once people are in a place where they're ready to advocate and to improve the lives of others, so they're in a place where their mental health is well enough that they really want to lessen the burden on another family or on another individual. They typically are ready to do that for several years. And there aren't a lot of outlets that allow someone who is not a licensed professional to make such a huge impact in someone else's life. Mm-hmm. So, and you're right, there is a very lengthy screening process. When you sign up to be volunteer, it's about a 6-month process before you're going to start.
Wow.
because you are representing our organization to individuals in the community, and we just want to make sure that we all, are on message, using I statements,
Right.
and all of our best practices.
And so I know you have a helpline, and let me just, if I can, state the phone number for the helpline, which is 301-949-5852. But do the volunteers obviously help on the helpline, but you've got community resource pages on your website. You've got social media that if people look at the social media, you see tips and resources that you put out as well.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the magic that happens in our programs is this sharing of, oh, hey, this is what helped me, this is what worked for me, or, and that's what everybody's trying to find. When someone has a mental health condition, it affects all areas of their lives. It can affect housing, it can affect employment, it can affect other health conditions. And so there's a lot of community resources. There can be legal complications as well. That's a fairly common a resource that people are in need of. So we've got to stay on top of a lot of different, unfortunately, Montgomery County is a resource-rich area. And so much so that it can be a little bit confusing to figure out which are the best resources for me in my particular situation. So we do have our helpline. You also can email info@namimc.org or reach out to us through our website. We consider that part of our warm line. Again, this is a warm line. It's not a hotline. So it may take us 24 hours to respond.
Okay. We're going to, I want to interrupt you just for a minute because we're going to take a short break. And when we come back, I want to know a little bit more about more of those resources and your vision for helping so many people affected by mental illness. But we'll be back in a second. You're watching Studio 501c3 on Montgomery Community Media. Please stay with us.
What do you think you're doing, Kevin?
Was just gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices?
Like your text-to-emoji ratio?
Oh man, the selfies. Selfie, nailed it.
We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Craig, come on man, let's split a ride home.
I don't remember how it started.
Go to bed.
Our back and forth. It always came back. Dad! You probably don't remember what you told me.
That was perfect.
But I heard every word.
You're there for them. We're here for you. Find free care guides at aarp.org/caregiving.
Welcome back to Studio 501c3. I'm Kim Jones, and with me is Stephanie Rosen, the Executive Director of the National Alliance on Mental Illness in Montgomery County. So Stephanie, I want you to go back and finish what you were saying just before the break about the warm line.
Sure. We have a warm line. We're, not going to provide actual case management, but what we are going to do is say, hey, here's how you get assistance in applying for Social Security disability. Here's how you get assistance with figuring out the process for getting subsidized housing or supportive housing. And so it is a really fantastic resource. We are at the Shady Grove Hospital inpatient psychiatric unit, as well as other local hospitals in person. If you check our website, you can see that schedule. So if you're more comfortable talking to someone one-on-one, we are available as a resource in person, as well as over the phone and via email.
Okay. So one of the things that I remember you talking about I don't know, it might have been a couple of years ago, was offering more mental health programs in Spanish so that you can provide more culturally and linguistically accessible services. This also speaks to, reaching out to diverse communities and making essential services available. So do you still have those services?
Yes, we do. We do. Mental health treatment is greatly underused, unfortunately, and it's even worse in communities of color. And the rates are absolutely abysmal. And we know that there's treatment that works. We're here saying you can live a really great life with mental illness, and treatment works. So we're that hope piece, and we've got to be that hope piece for our entire community. And so we're really trying to create a volunteer course in a community, a volunteer core and a community that looks like our community, which is so diverse.
That's very important. And you also have some partnerships with corporations. You do some wellness work with some companies as well.
We've done quite a bit of work with Lockheed Martin, which is their headquarters here in Bethesda. But I've worked on several initiatives with them that have gone out to their global corporate footprint, which was really great. Happy to provide that resource. Again, we're that lived experience piece, though. So we're sharing first person stories. And we're not giving medical advice. We're saying medical advice is important, and here's how to access it, and here's how to reduce the barriers, but also providing that story of hope that this is real. Here's a face, here's a story, it's important. And not only doing that with the general public, but also doing that with our elected officials. It's extremely important for them to know how much mental health conditions impact our community as a whole. It impacts people across the lifespan. We talked about, every color. And so it's really important.
Well, speaking of advocacy, and working with legislators, I've seen during legislative sessions in the past where there has been some work to bring more awareness to the legislators. What's the result of that effort? And we only have about a minute left, so.
Sure. Well, so nationally, a lot of we've got 3 areas of priority. Number 1 is that people get treatment early. Half of all lifetime cases start before the age of 14. So we really want to connect people early. There's also, about a 10-year delay between symptom onset and treatment. Which we don't let happen with any other illness. The second thing is that we want to divert people from the criminal justice system. We don't think that that's the best way for people to be getting treatment for a medical condition. And the third thing is that people have access to the best possible care. So all of our advocacy revolves around kind of those 3 focus areas. And we're looking for funding, we're looking for programming, we're looking for awareness. And it can involve all kinds of things in terms of, how much doctors are reimbursed by insurance.
Good to know.
So those are our 3 priorities, and any legislation we're advocating.
Good. Well, I'm sorry to cut you off, but that's all the time we have for today. And I really want to thank you, Stephanie, for being here. Stephanie is the Executive Director for the National Alliance on Mental Illness for Montgomery County. And to find out more about their programs, visit the website at NAMIMC.org. Studio 501c3 is your window on nonprofits in Montgomery County. I'm Kim Jones. Join us next time for more Studio 501c3. Thanks, Stephanie.